organizers, delegates to the Global Economic Summit, Dubai, my two eminent co-speakers on the dais, invitees and friends. Vanakkam, Salam Alaikum, and good morning. I am immensely thankful to Mr. V.R. Sampath and Madras Development Society for this opportunity extended to me. Maybe Mr. Sampath invited me because of my exposure to development finance in the University of Birmingham, United Kingdom. Thank you, Mr. Sampath. I have been dealt with 3 S's: accounting, management, and development. They are beautifully interwoven. Accounting is the management tool for operational excellence, which will ultimately lead to development of the entity and the country. I think I shall speak for about 3 to 5 minutes on each of the subtopics so that I finish in about 10 to 15 minutes. If my co-speakers also agree, then we can have an interactive session. That's because this is a professional subject, may not interest many others except the co-professionals, and we need to have an immersive session, and a question-answer session is imperative. Accounting is truly an international profession. It's a social science. Born in Italy as double-entry bookkeeping, it was nursed by Indian numerals, these figures, because எண்ணும் எழுத்தும் கண்ணனத்தகுன்றார். அதேபோல் எண் இந்தியர்கள் தந்தது. So, it was Indian numerals, and accounting grew up with Chinese and Egyptian invention of papyrus. Without paper, you cannot have bookkeeping or accounts. At the youthful stage, it was adapted by Arabic traders who used to come to India. பொன்னும் முத்தும் பவழமும் ஏலமும் மிளகும் எடுத்து சென்றார்கள். அதற்கு accounts தேவை. So, at the youthful stage, it was adopted by the Arab traders for accounting intercontinental trade and commerce. Eventually, accounting reached the shores of Europe, because Middle East has always, even today, it is an entrepot, and it is the window for Europe, and it's the gateway to Africa. So it went to Europe just as our children do. They migrate to the West. Let me step aside a bit and share with you a personal note. I was in Jerusalem as an European Union advisor, and my secretary, Julie, had 3 children. One was born in Ireland, one was born in Belgium, and one in Morocco. She was expecting her 4th child, and it was planned to be birthed in Holland. Julie planned to migrate to one of these countries when one of the children came of age and one a nationality. In India, we see children migrating. In Palestine, the mother was migrating. So taking the example, I took my mother also to Jerusalem when she was 90 years old. Santosham sir, my mother has walked the Rosa Street on which Jesus Christ walked. That's in Jerusalem. That's in Palestine. So I took my mother there. Okay, let us go back to accounting. I said accounting was international even at Genesis and in character even today. Not because our children are in the Middle East, as Mr. Balasubramaniam is, or they are in UK or USA. Neither is it because the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India have 47 chapters abroad. Why is it so international? Because its foundational principles and practices, rules and processes are similar, be it Zimbabwe, Zambia, or Zanzibar. Everywhere the rules and principles, practices and processes are similar. Lately, the profession has become international in another sense also, because of the complexities of the profession and the need for exchange of ideas and face-to-face talks. And building a fraternity, there are international conferences in every country and annually. India hosted what is called the Olympics of Accountants Conference or World Conference of Accountants in Mumbai in November 22. So it's international all the time and it retains its character of internationality all through because of its foundational principles being similar. The principles and practices of the profession are uniform. Why is it so everywhere it is so? The profession has to generate trust and transparency. Why has it got to generate trust? Because if you buy shares in a company, you want to know whether the company is telling the truth. If the company is declaring dividends, you want to know whether they have declared it reasonably or they are hiding something. So there's something called creative accounting also. Creative accounting is imaginary accounting, and is it okay? Creative accounting is imaginary accounting. We had I think one of my friends is going to talk about the recent bank failures, SVB and Signature Bank, and why it is happening. We also had a big setback when Satyam failed. Why did it happen? Because we did some creative accounting and we created what is called fictitious entries. Right? There's something called goodwill, which is imaginary. There's something called creative accounting. There's something called fictitious entry. These things should not happen or cannot happen if we have to create transparency and trust. More so in the future world, if India wants to become the 5th largest economy, 5 trillion economy, or third largest economy in the world. When you export pharmaceuticals to Mexico, he does not know who you are, whether you are manufacturing the quality medical, and you do not know whether he will pay for you. Even if letter of credit is open, several times they fail and the businesses wrap up. So accounting profession creates this trust and transparency. At least the good accountants do it. And they do it for all the stakeholders. I only talk to you about buyers and sellers. In a joint stock company, there are several stakeholders. There are suppliers, there are creditors, there are investors, there are employees, and ultimately, even taxation officials have to depend on their certified accounts. So, strictly speaking, accountants provide the bridge between the entity and the economy. Hence, the accounting profession has emerged as one of the pillars of corporate governance. But for accounts, joint stock companies would not have arrived. But for joint stock companies, MNCs would not have arrived. But for MNCs, global trade would not have happened. And without global trade, the world cannot prosper. So, at the bottom, the foundational stone is with good accounting. Accountants also enable accountability. Accountability is the basis for a shining democracy as well as a flowering business. Because they ensure accountability, there is economic prosperity. While accounting is a pillar of corporate, it's a pillar, but yet it is swayed all the time by technology developments. Technology has a domino effect. It unleashes changes on the political plane. It alters existing economic equilibrium amongst nations and markets. Just see what China could do to the world. It's all because of adopting the right technology and affect the attitudes and aspirations of the people. When you were a child, you and I maybe, we were happy to ride a bicycle. Today, the son, before he reaches 16 years of age, he wants to drive a car. His aspirations have changed. His attitude towards you itself has changed. Because, Father, you know nothing. You don't know WhatsApp. You don't know, you have not heard what is blockchain. You have heard only about gold chain all through your life. Okay. So, data analytics. You don't know data analytics. You have only heard of film analysis, which film to go. Kumudam writes about it. Attitudes and aspirations change when technology changes and when new demands are created and new economy is created. Change, which I have just now mentioned, are of three categories. One is a universal change. What is the best example for a universal change? Climate change is the universal change. You cannot stop it. No country can stop it. So what happens? With climate change, universal change, arrives new concepts and new technologies. Climate change will bring in climate accounts, climate finance, green carbon, green footprints, green accounting. It will bring in several other things along with it, and which are challenges to the accounting profession. Even now, climate finance or climate accounts is in the making. It has not been finalized, but it has to win universal approval also. I'm not talking about policies. I'm talking about a professional challenge. Similarly, there are national changes. What are the national changes? GST has been a national change, which is only confined to this country or India. So for that, the accountants have to be prepared. Not only that, along with it, we have created several regulations, several appellate tribunals. Every day, if you open Financial Express or Economic Times or go through Money Control, then you will see what NCLT has approved, NCLAT has not upheld. What Income Tax Officer has said, Income Tax Appellate Tribunal does not. It may be lawyers' delight, but definitely accountants' despair. What pleases lawyers will not please the accountants. Okay. More than that, RERA, whatever it is, or Consumers Dispute Council, more than that, when even the appellate tribunal decides, right, the Supreme Court does not uphold, or the High Court does not uphold. So to what levels national changes can impinge upon various professions you can imagine. Forget these universal changes. Forget these national changes. There are societal changes. Society itself is changing. Actually, one's wife does not like gold chain anymore. It is platinum jewelry, right? So, there is gender representation which is coming in society. On the first day, in the inaugural address, Mr. G. Viswanathan mentioned about gender representation in the parliament, which has been languishing since 1962. For the boards of business, also, there are rules and regulations for gender representation. More than that, parity. Gender parity, the lady Wimbledon players or Indian cricket team, ladies are paid the same compensation as men. More than that, men are going to have paternity leave. So how does this affect the accounting profession? Societal changes. It affects the profession because when they have to make project reports, when they have to make projections for the future, when they have to prepare a budget, all these things which were not there before, these are all elements of cost. These have to enter into their calculations. In the first 22 years of this century, pandemic and technology have ushered in work from home. Okay, thank you. I thought we'll speak for 15 minutes. Okay. Webinar mode, teleconferencing, telemedicine, drone deliveries, cloud kitchens, faceless banking, cyber advertising. So there are so many new things which have come up, which we have managed in the last 22 years. But it's not only in accounting profession. From school children to senior citizens, everybody has managed this, and we are also managing with several fintech applications. So this is where the profession stands. I've been alerted that I must keep up the time. Artificial intelligence is a game changer, which is at our doors, affecting medicine, surgery, spying, warfare, deep sea mapping, moon landing, say what you want. So artificial intelligence can reduce distance, drudgery, defects, etc., but lacks creativity. Chatbot can write a love letter, but cannot love Miss India. So professionals such as accountants, doctors, lawyers will remain at the top with their creative edge to drive management and development. Now let us move to a small, I'll have to abridge. Management ensures operational excellence. Accounting profession with its prowess for analysis of facts enables management to elevate excellence. Accounting and management set up detailed controls, internal controls, to give early warning signals. And accounting standards are in place in almost all countries to help comparability of performance between corporates and entities in the same segment within and without the country. Yesterday, BBC was telecasting a news item called Romance Fund for Fraud. Okay. And the UK bank had to shell out 153,000 pounds. Just imagine what a fortune it is. It was between UK shores and USA shores. These are the things which this profession has to be in charge of. Modern life is blessed not only with technology, we have to have a lot of standardization. Without standardization, you and I will hesitate to drive a car on the road. You and I cannot buy a Van Heusen shirt because it is standardized. What 42 centimeters mean, etc. So, but standardization, I would like to share with you a small story. Adam and Eve was created with a rib from the lungs. And they had a happy life. And Adam used to hunt, go out for hunting and bring the animals for food. And as he started hunting, the animals became farther and farther, difficult to locate. So Adam had to go longer distances and chase the animals. As he went longer and longer, he came later and later to home. So Eve got a little suspicious. Why is this man coming late every day? So one day when Adam was sleeping, she counted how many ribs he had, whether he took out one more rib and created one more lady. So that is standardization. God has given you 32 ribs. So if you count it, it's not there, and Eve has been created. And that is how the profession of auditing came about. Auditing applies all standardization. So accounting and auditing are like Adam and Eve. Let's go to the development side because I have already been alerted. If India wants to become a 5 trillion economy, or the fifth largest thing, or as it was mentioned in the inaugural speech, if Mr. Stalin wants to reach a 1 trillion economy, what does it mean for accounting and other professions? As I said, we have to create goodwill and trust all over the world. Then only we can reach that stage. You will be amazed to hear, at least I was quite surprised, that United Arab Emirates is the third largest trading partner in the world, next to USA and China. Not UK, not France, not Germany. This is the one we already have 60 billion trade with this country. And in 5 years' time, we want to reach $100 billion. So if we have to do this, we'll have to keep up goodwill and trust across the world, and we will need all the professionals. It may be advocates, it may be arbitrators, it must be investors, it must be accountants, everybody. I hope that all of us put together will help the trade. Thank you very much.